Episode 112. I'm joined by a special guest. What's your name?
Monikah Lee.
Why did you bring your shoulders in like that?
Because I know, you know what, yeah? I need to remember that people can actually see me as well. I don't know, I got a bit like shy, innit?
So when you get shy, you put your shoulders in?
Yeah, that's just one thing, but no one really says anything, but trust you to be able to pinpoint that.
Yeah, I'm an analytical person. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So we're going to be talking about, actually no, you lot already know what we're talking about because you can see in the title, so it is what it is. I haven't thought of the title yet, so that's why I'm not saying it now. So Monikah, what do you do with yourself?
I'm a presenter. I'm a radio personality. I've got my own talk show called Talks with Monikah Lee. And I run a charity with my business partner called Ugly Tribe, Understanding Girls Like You.
Okay, so tell us more about the charity.
So, okay, I'm always rubbish when it comes to explaining myself, but I need to do this properly. I need to not be that person.
No, you could this is a relaxed podcast.
So the charity, it started in November. So my business partner, she goes by the name of Latricia, messaged me saying I've got a really dope concept. Let's create.
Did she use the word dope?
No, she didn't use the word dope. She's older than me. She's like, but love me.
Sorry.
She's like, I've got a really dope concept. Let's partner up with Centrepoint and deliver workshops for young women to help them thrive in their truths. And just give them like 6 weeks, literally like master classes and helping them to deal with society, deal with things that life throw at them. Because when I was younger, I didn't have like someone to talk to or any woman that understood what I was going through. I felt like I was alone. So I felt like I wanted to be kind of that big sister that can help them just travel through all the stuff that life brings at them, because things get worse in a way. Like life does get a bit heavy, and sometimes it doesn't get easier, so it's just giving them the best coping mechanisms so that they can deal with life scenarios in a better way, in a more constructive way.
I thought you said you couldn't explain it.
I know.
Big cap.
I needed to take a breather, but yeah, so that's been going really well. We're on our 3rd cohort now, and yeah, so it's going really good.
Okay, and you said you're also a radio personality.
So yes, I'm on radio.
What radio station?
So I do like stuff with Rinse. I was on West Side. I was on Radar before everything went the way it did. And yeah, so I've been doing radio. That's how I kind of like kick-started my career before I went into presenting and so forth. But now I'm just trying to find that balance to get back on radio, because life can just throw you so many little curveballs. So I'm just trying to get back into radio, just on a little, because I want to like push my UK music, and I love music, so.
Okay, so you love music. So you said UK music. So what type of UK music?
What type of UK music? Can't lie, I am loving like the Afro wave, you know. So I'm loving like the UK bashment artist that's coming out right now. I'm loving obviously UK Afro wave.
So what are you listening to right now?
What am I listening to right now? Who am I a big fan of? I'm a big fan of Stylo G. I love him. Okay. I'm a big fan of like up and coming artists like Shauna Shade, S&E. They bring that kind of like nice kind of UK but still that Caribbean kind of feel to it. I like Shaki Dread, he's good. And then obviously I love like my Chips, I love them. I love like the OGs when it comes to just rap and UK rap. I'm a big fan. So, but I'm not like, oh, it has to be this type of music. I'm just whatever floats my boat, whatever I love. I'm that one that will ride the wave. So yeah.
Okay. So you're a presenter. So actually tell us about Talks with Monikah Lee.
So yes, So yeah, I got my own talk show. It's very similar to like a question time kind of setup. So I feel that it's very important to give the platform to the public to be able to kind of discuss what's going on. So at a time way before talk shows were kind of prevalent, it's kind of up there right now. A lot of people are doing like different types of shows with similar setups as a talk show. There was a lot of people just doing Twitter fingers, a lot of people doing Instagram comments, a lot of people doing YouTube. And I just felt like, you know what, why shouldn't I just create a very safe space where people can come and have conversations that are not with like-minded people, but with people from different backgrounds, different economic backgrounds, social background, cultural background, and bring it all together. And then I always like have a panelist, and then I'll just kind of like obviously talk to panelists, let them know the topics. I try to have it very like political, very like taboo subjects. I don't like to focus on what's trending. I like to talk about things that we don't particularly think about just because it's not something that you think that's within, that it's within your reach, that you think is needed. Like the other day, I spoke about like pensions, but I spoke about like with women thinking about their pensions because of the gender pay gap. Sorry, I'm all mixing all my words together. But more time we just think about, oh yeah, this is what we're going through now. And I'm like, let's think about the future. Talking about tax and talking about how that just different ways and we can protect ourselves, especially if we're going down that entrepreneurial style, which I think our generation is doing a lot of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I talk about like loads of different stuff. So come to my show if you want to know more.
Yeah, I actually need to come. I haven't been yet.
Yes, you do.
Invite me then.
What? You see what gone?
I don't.
You do?
No, I don't.
Don't even try it.
I don't see any.
He retweets and supports everything I do, which I always like. I'm grateful for. So you need to come true.
No, I actually do. I don't even know why I haven't been. I actually have no excuse. I'll be there. I'll be the next one as long as
yes.
I'm not.
17th of July, okay? So on
17th.
sex and relationships.
Okay, that's midweek, isn't it?
On a Wednesday.
17. I think, okay, I could do that. I'll put that on my calendar. Anyway, so speaking of sex relationship, we're not going to talk about sex because I don't do that shit.
Oh, is it? So on. I heard... Oh, no, guys, we'll talk about it later.
You're lying. Anyway, I could just cut this out anyway. So we're going to talk about marriage, relationships. Obviously, this is an economics podcast, so I'll bring the economical aspects on it. And then it's interesting. I talk about this stuff quite often because it's quite important, and I feel like it gives us like a basis for the rest of our lives. But obviously, most of my friends are guys, so I don't have guys' posts. So it's good to have a lady's perspective. So, what is your views on marriage? Because when I messaged you about the topic, you were like, I don't marriage. My name's Monikah Lee, marriage. So, what's your when you hear marriage, what do you think of? What's the first thing that comes to your head?
Illegal binding contract. I just think straight away just a contract. I don't even think about the love aspect of it or two people coming together to create this beautiful bond and union, which is all great. Let me not say that it is. But if we just go back to what marriage was actually there for, it wasn't really to protect women, in a sense. So I see marriage for love is just a social construct to me. I feel, it really is. Like, but I'm not against it, but I'm not like, my life goal is to be married, and if I'm not married, that means I've not been successful and I'm not happy. I just feel like, let me just go with the flow. But it's good to just kind of understand. But I've not really had any positive role models around me when it comes to marriage anyway. So I don't really have the most great outlook when it comes to marriage. I just see it as, okay, if anything happens and my man try to leave me, I'm going to make sure that my name is on this. So, do you know what I mean? Like that is what I've been taught, like through my parents, like men are always leaving you. So make sure as a woman, if you get married, it's for you to make sure that you're protected. And do you know what I mean? So I've always had like a very negative or a very skeptical kind of thought process when it comes to marriage. It is beautiful, don't get it twisted, but...
Look at you trying to soften the thing. Oh, yeah.
It is beautiful, but
it was nice.
But if I don't get married, am I going to cry about it? No. But if I'm with my partner for 10 years and I think maybe I want to take the next step, I don't know. I might be in a different mindset then. I might be in a different zone.
Do you know, like, if you even mention being with somebody for 10 years, girls look at you like, what? You're not serious? You mean to come here?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, relax, man. Like, I see what you mean about marriage. I'm Nigerian, so in my community, marriage is a big thing. Like, and I can't lie, it kind of makes me sick. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not against marriage. I'm probably like, I will probably get married, really and truly. So mum hears this, she'll probably vomit all over the kitchen floor.
Really?
Yeah, like you have to get married, that's my thoughts. But like the way we see it is like you kind of have to, and marriage is almost like a tool that, not a tool, like it's like a, what the word I'm looking for? It's a metric almost in terms of valuation for women. I'm speaking from like Yoruba culture. So like if a woman ain't married with kids, you're looking at her like, what's going on? Like you're 32. Where's your like?
What's that word? What's 32?
I'm saying 30, but you know that's.
Okay. I'm Jamaican.
Yeah, that's how Nigerians pronounce it. And I'm thinking, like your valuation as a human goes beyond whether you're married or not. You could be married to the biggest bozo of life. Do you know what I mean? What difference? Like what are you doing to the earth? Like, what impact are you having on your friends, family, community? Like, if you're married, great. If you're not married, great. Like, so when my mum does like the whole marriage shit with my sister, I'm always like, nah, it's not everyday marriage.
Yeah.
Like, and she'll be like, oh, tell me shut up. But like, I'm trying to counteract, like, because I don't want, like, obviously I can't raise my own sister. That's my mum and dad's job. But if I have a daughter, she ain't being raised to be somebody's wife. Like, that's a myth. Like, you're being raised to be the greatest person possible. And if somebody could fit into that, cool. If not, then, do you know what I mean? So with marriage, it's very, very interesting because now I've seen a few debates, whether it be on like YouTube shows or reading articles or on social media or intra-friendship groups, whether marriage and relationships benefit the guy more, the girl more, is it equal? So what would you think? What do you think?
You know what, yeah, when you like initially sent me the topic and I was thinking about it, straight ahead I was like, yeah, man, it benefits the woman because we like that security. And then I had to think outside of the box. Like, let's think scientifically now. Let's think, let's just think from a different point of view. When it comes to security and feeling, these are all subjective stuff. So it is, I can't use how one person may feel to kind of generalize how the whole public will feel. And when I was just like doing my research, have a look, and it was showcasing that men, it benefits men much more than women when it comes to marriage. This is more from like a scientist side though, scientific side rather than like cultural side or money and all those. The fact that like it was saying that men will take less risk when they're in a marriage. Yeah. When it comes to money, they're less than likely. Like, you know, for in a dating scene or just little simple stuff, when you know you have a family to think about, when you have someone that is literally dependent on you. And as a man, we still have that like that stereotypical view, that macho, like as a man, you need to protect your home. You need to serve and make sure that your wife and your children don't go without anything and so forth. For them, I feel like it makes sense. It just puts everything in one bubble. Like it will just reduce the risk of them spending unnecessarily or maybe just doing things that wouldn't really make sense or really fit with what needs to be done. But having like a marriage and having a family, I feel like it makes them a bit more level-headed when it comes to the men. But when it comes to women, I feel like it's more stress.
Why do you think it's more stress?
Like, there's more like, when it comes to marriage, there's always this expectations that you need to keep your husband. Like, just because you're married, it doesn't mean that you have to like physically and mentally not be there. Do you know what I mean? Because you know, when it comes to marriage, a lot of us, we're waiting for that ring. And when we wait for that ring, that means that security, that person's staying there. So they're not leaving. And then when it comes, I feel like some people don't really understand how difficult it may be for a marriage. So more times the women have to overcompensate and do a lot of stuff when it comes to kind of upholding that family. Like, we are there most of the time at home. Do you know what I mean? Dealing with whatever that needs to be dealt with when it comes to the children or come with family life, or making sure that there's an equal balance with everyone's happy. Do you know what I mean? And as a woman, we're one person, but we still have to fit so many different roles. And I feel like as a husband, as a man, more time you just fit in the role of, you know what, I'm providing and I'm doing what I need to do. But as women, we're taking on multiple roles, keeping our man happy. And in the same breath, we're keeping him happy. We've got to make sure the children's happy. We've got to make sure if anything goes wrong, it's always the maternal's fault. It's never the man's fault. As a woman, you need to make sure that you're nurturing. Do you know? So I feel like it increases more stress when it comes into women, when it comes to like their health and so forth. And for men, it's like, yeah, I got my woman there. That's it. I did my hunting, got what I need to get, and I'm solid. I just need to do not the bare minimum, but I just need to do what needs to be done to make sure there's a roof over our heads. Or, do you know what I mean? Just very kind of like old school type of mentality. But it wasn't always like that though. Like,
yeah, I think so. Some of the, like I echo some of the points. So for example, before, women never worked as much as they do now.
Oh yeah.
So now women are working almost as well. I wouldn't say almost, but pretty much close enough to the same rate men are working at, but women still do 2/3 of the housework. So when I say housework, I mean like the domestic duties at home. Women still tend to be the primary carer, like to work. So you're doing the domestic duties while you're also still going out to work. So that's where, if you look at it comparatively, so maybe from previous generations, the benefit has almost shrunk. Yeah. And even what you're saying about men are less likely to take risks when in a marriage is also true from what I've been reading and researching. And also, because they're less likely to take risks, men benefit from a higher life expectancy in marriage. Women do as well, but not to the same extent as men. So, and there's two reasons for this. Obviously, you get the protective aspect of a marriage, like you're protecting your wife is protecting you, you're looking out for each other's health and well-being, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, as a man, you're less likely to take risks, but also people are picking, especially women, they're going to pick a guy with lower risk than a guy with high risk. So you're unlikely to go, marry the crackhead on the roadside compared to, I don't know, maybe Stable Eddie. So it's twofold. In terms of like the benefits, I've had a discussion with my friend, she said, it benefits women more. I'm thinking about, obviously, naturally, you'll take the side of a gender, but I like to think. So, I don't know, I go back and forth. So, quite a lot of my boys think benefits men, quite a lot of my female friends think it benefits women. So, when I think of the benefits of a man in this day and age, I'll say obviously the cost of living is very high.
Mm-hmm.
So rent / mortgage is very difficult to come by. It's easy if you split it too. So if you compare it to previous generations, you benefit more from being married than you did probably, let's say, financially, let's say 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
However, also the risks are higher. So, and I've spoken to several men and people telling me from like colleagues where men have worked really hard, they've amassed, let's say, multiple properties, blah, blah, blah. They've divorced their wives and their wives has taken 3 out of the 5 properties. And that is a mad risk. Like, I could talk about the divorce laws all day because to me that's madness, but it's a mad risk. In terms of like socially, I think one of the biggest breakdowns is an expectation. So I feel like this is my personal opinion and it's backed up by some bit of biology and some bit of evidence that I think women have a high expectation and I think also some women overrate themselves, more like to overrate themselves than guys. So I'll give an example. So I think it's like a dating site and there's asked people men and women to rate like the people on that site. And then it's like the men's pattern followed like a standard distribution. So it went, so let me come into the camera. It went up like this, down like a bell curve. So you had, let's say 10% people they thought were not very good looking. 10% thought people like, oh my God, she's like Rihanna.
Yeah. And
everybody else kind of in the middle, innit? So that's kind of like how society looks. Women was like, most people, they thought that he ain't that nice. And it went down like that. So it shows that women kind of like a harsher outlook on things. And even I saw this was like discussion on Twitter and I thought this was mad. Like when I was like, what? How can you say that it's a high expectation to want somebody that is really good looking, really like great character, really smart, earns a lot of money, and they're just trying to say, oh, that just shows that you mean I'm like thinking, what are you talking about?
No, I think that's a bit extreme.
Yeah, I think that's extreme because if you're saying good looking, there's a difference between good looking and good looking to you. Like, good looking to you, okay, that could be anybody. But generally good looking, so let's say if you take 100 people and you poll them, they'll score 8 out of 10 on average. And then you're going to add really, really wealthy or got a lot of money, add good personality. You're taking like the top 5-10% in each category and just people that know maths, you're making the number smaller. But I think it was an Australian biologist was talking about like why there's a lot of divorces. And he's like, a lot of these marriages are doomed from the beginning because these women, they don't really rate the guy in that sense. They kind of like felt like they settled and then they think, oh, I'm getting a raw deal. So a lot of guys are just doing because most guys, you're going to be an average. Most people listening to this, unfortunately, sorry, you're going to be average, innit? So.
Oh, wow.
I know,
let me just think about my life quickly.
Yeah.
I'm going to be average.
So on average, just math. So if you're thinking, how many times have some of you guys thinking, this is mediocre, like I could do better than this type of thing. So I think that's one of the issues. And from a man's point of view, okay, why can it benefit us? Marriage, relationships, outside economics. I think obviously, like if you're like you have somebody that can also help you look after a child. If you want children, let's be honest, most women are going to be the primary carers of children.
Yeah, definitely.
So while you're going out doing whatever, like it's mad. Like you see, when I see the way some guys talk about like them and their kids, I'm thinking like you're moving like you're a babysitter. Like it's your child, fam. Like, do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a very interesting topic. What do you think about anything I said?
Certain points, you know what, you made that point with women and expectations. And I feel like when it comes to relationship, there have to be some sort of compromise. And I feel like sometimes we are kind of, you see how television and social media might glamorize a few things. I feel like if that person can get it, that means I can get it too. And I totally get it. Like if someone exceeds and get A stars and all that, oh cool, I could get A star too. I could work 10 times hard enough just to accumulate that. But it's just kind of understanding, like when it comes to marriage, I feel like you just have to there has to be like a level balanced thinking when it comes to that. But I feel like our generation, I feel like a lot of people are just getting married because of number one, culturally, tradition, their parents are forcing them to get married. And number two, like I slightly feel like there's a little hype going on. Like if you're not married and you're not going to a wedding or if you're not within that circle and it's like, wow, like you're not doing something or you're not in some way as successful as you should be. So I feel like there's been a hike with marriages, just within like our culture, definitely.
And not even just within our culture. Like I was speaking to people at work, and like let's say they're probably in their late 30s, early 40s. They're like, yeah, like loads of our friends are married, and we just started to realize that we just don't talk to the people that aren't married. So like obviously you're just on different things, like on a different type of speed. So yeah, man, I feel like there's definitely an element to that culturally, and I think also like TV, the media, culture is very important, and like the media influences culture. So
100%.
So it shapes guys and it shapes women. So I feel like you get the kind of princess type mentality where like I'm not gonna talk to guy should talk to me. I should be swept off my feet like it's taekwondo, all that type of stuff. And then you get guys thinking, okay, cool, I have to make sure I go out, earn this bread, then I'll get like an amazing girl. Like, it's not linear like that. That's difficult. And I think quite a lot of people I feel like most relationships are doomed from the beginning. Like, you shouldn't be that person. And
oh my gosh, did you hear that? That was like, was that my belly or my...
I felt like you were dying. I don't know what's going on. But
let's just cross that out.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say again. Oh, you just rattled me. Oh, I was going to say that I feel like not everybody's meant to be married and not everybody's meant to be in a relationship at a given time. I think according to the last census, so that's when, for people who don't know, every 10 years, the government sends out this big form, people fill it out to get some like information on how many people are in the country, what do they do, the demographics, all that type of stuff. So the last one was 2011, so we got 1 in 2 years. According to the census, 2011, like 1 in 4 people won't be married. Never. Like they just won't be married. That's a larger number than you think.
That's a lot.
Like you take your friendship group, there's 8 of you, 2 of you won't be married. Like you tell some girls, they'll say, hey, God forbid, but like that's just the reality for some of us. And I don't know, I just don't feel like we should push people into feeling like, especially women, like you're not less of a person if you don't get married, like, or you don't have a boyfriend. To me, that's proper wild. I don't get it.
It's wild. You know what? Yeah, I went to a bridal shower last week, and like,
what's a bridal shower?
It's like a week before where we give presents, like a baby shower. Like we give presents.
All these showers,
yeah, it's very similar to a baby shower. But obviously, my friend's about to get married, and so like at the end we have this thing where it's like everyone give advice to like the future bride and what to expect.
I'm cutting that shit. Ain't none of these girls giving advice to my future bride, bruv.
But so no, we was talking and I just said something. I'm like, you know what? Because majority of the women that were giving advice, they were like engaged, about to get married, living with their partner, everything, got kids or married already. And I was like, you know what? I'm not married. And everyone's like, God forbid, don't worry, you'll be married soon. I'm like, I'm confused. I'm like, I am not married, but I'm very happy. Like, but it was, I felt some way like, oh, because you're not with someone. I'm like, and because I was so confident with saying it, it was like all of a sudden like, wow, okay, this is new. Don't worry, God forbid, God will bring you your husband very soon. I'm like, but I didn't ask for that. Yeah. All I said is that I'll give advice as a person and as a woman. It doesn't like, just because I'm not married or I don't have a partner or I'm not engaged, it doesn't mean that my advice is less than. But I feel like in community, it's like you can't really give advice or say certain things because you're not within that. Or don't worry, if you're not married yet, someone will come soon. It will happen in a day. Just everything will happen. It's just that understanding where it's like, I'm okay and I'm happy. But a lot of people are saying that, yeah, I'm a millennial, or you know what, I'm not my mom or I'm not my dad. Like I've grown. And I feel like sometimes I just see some of their like ancestors just seeping through, even through tweets sometimes. I just think, like, how old are you? Are you 60 or are you 22 or 23? Because I'm just very confused with you thinking that you're your own person, but certain of the ways of your views are very
it's impossible
old school.
Like, unless you have like a type of personality where you're very critical, and you question a lot of things, you're just gonna fall into culture and tradition. Yeah. Like obviously, if you're living in the UK, just being in a different environment is gonna dilute it a bit. Yeah. But there's gonna be elements of your culture that's gonna be inbuilt inside of you. And I completely agree with that. I think it's crazy. Another thing we'll talk about in terms of like when you're talking about the benefits and the cost and benefits of marriage and relationship, that type of stuff. When it comes to children, like, what's your opinion on that? Do you feel like to bear a child, do you think you're better suited to be in a marriage situation or living with a partner, or you could just be a single parent if needs be, or you just like, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, first of all, I feel like people have different definitions of single parents. I feel, which really annoys me, like the father is actively in your life. It doesn't mean that you're a single parent because you have them majority of the time. Do you know what I mean? Single parents is when the person, the other half, is absolutely absent. Like they're not there completely, don't even acknowledge the child. So understanding that, because come on, like you can function normally raising a child if you have two people involved. And now my mom always says to me, like, a father, you can always get a father figure. Like a father figure there can always someone that can embody a father figure, like an uncle, like someone can always do something like that, especially when it comes to the mother, it might not be totally like that in that sense.
I think that's the same for the father, though. I think the role of the father is criminally understated. I feel like you can get a father figure, but it won't be the same as somebody who's...
biologically.
And I think, obviously, it's a different level of incentive. Obviously, an uncle will love you, but they'll never... like, same way like your auntie would never love you like your mum will love you.
Yeah.
Like, and you would hope that you'll be able to love you like your mum and dad, you feel me? But I like, obviously with the primary care and the maternal nature, obviously, especially a young child, a woman, like the mother's always so much more important. But yeah, sorry, continue.
But I don't feel like you have to be married to raise a children.
You raise a children. That's some mad English. I'm bad as well, so don't.
Trust me, everyone will be listening thinking, oh, this is fine. But I don't feel like you have to be married. Living in the same household, I think that would be good when it comes to like discipline, when it comes to like culture, and them just kind of understanding how it is that a father figure should act and how a mother figure should act and how they should act together, just like relationships, just understanding maybe all the social concepts, which I think sometimes a lot of children may have trouble with when they're growing up. Like, how should I treat a man? How should I treat a woman? How do I treat my friends? Just those are like simple things that could be learned through your parents or stuff like that. But I don't think that it's like, okay, if you're not married and the children that live together, all of a sudden you're a bad person or you've done something wrong. I don't believe in that totally. When I was younger, I thought that I wanted to get married, but that's because my mum and dad wasn't married. So I'm like, I want to maybe provide something different because I didn't have the upbringing with two parents in one household. I want to make sure I do something different because it proves that I might be better. And then as I've grown, society has shown me that you have no responsibility for anyone's actions. Do you know what I mean? I'm not responsible for your action. You're not responsible for my action. So I can't all of a sudden think just because it's a two-parent household, it's going to be an amazing household. It's going to be great. The family, everything will be as it should be. Because I've seen, like, as I've grown older, I've seen a lot of my friends being honest, like, oh yeah, my dad went back to Nigeria or Ghana or wherever he went back to. And you think, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, were you lot together? And he's like, yeah, they're still married. And I'm like, okay, but I don't feel any connection. I'm like, oh, but in my head, as soon as I heard marriage, I thought two people be in the same household. And as I've grown old and as I've been talking to friends and family, I'm realizing like marriage doesn't mean that you be able to raise your children the best way just because there's two people there. If they're not emotionally there, that's when the problem may occur. So I think it's less about this notion of marriage, but more about just two people being involved in that person's life.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do think marriage, only because it's a bit more set in stone that two people are going to be in some form of union. I think if both parents, the better both parents get on, the better the environment is for the child naturally anyway. And if they live together, it's just, as you said, certain things are easier, role models and just showing how to operate and function in society is better. I agree with you at that point. But similarly, you can be in a household where they're both not on job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're not getting what you need. But especially if you look at it in America, the impacts of, obviously there's a lot of things going on in terms of culture and environments, but the impacts of like a father not being at home is just drastic. Like how people are more like to be involved in gangs and crime, drug abuse, going to jail, like is mad. But at the same time, I'm not sure if I haven't looked at statistics if it's as heavy influence here, but I definitely do believe that you can still be effective and great parents. Like I know some people that co-parent, and they're fantastic parents. Their kids turn out great. Of course, it requires a lot of effort, requires a lot of logistics and planning. But I think you can function in any of those scenarios, apart from maybe when you're just the only person, which is fucking hell, very difficult. But
just have to salute those that do it, like men or women. Like when you're able to just take everything on, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's mad. Okay, controversial question, yeah? Because like our talk has been bare calm. So let's, okay, cool. Scenario. Guy A and girl B, guy A and girl A, they were, I don't know, just like casually dating, should I say. And then obviously girl gets pregnant. She tells my man and he's like, I can't lie to you, man. Like, I ain't trying to have a child. Like, this is not the right time for me, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, we could do it. He goes, no. I'm not, like, I am under no circumstance having a child, and I will not be involved if you're going to go through having a child. Obviously, that's probably, if you're looking at things from a moral perspective, that's pretty much immoral in my opinion. And then Shorty's like, okay, I'm going to do whatever. Do you think it's reasonable for her to still expect assistance financially, spiritually, emotionally, all that type of stuff from the guy?
If he's outright saying that he's not interested and doesn't want anything to do with the child or children, whatever it may be, I feel like she needs to get into her head that he may not be there present emotionally and physically. So I feel like she'll just have to try and internalize all the things that she wanted from this guy and just be honest that he might not be there. I don't feel like she should still expect the guy to be there, or expect the guy to aid everything, especially if he's outrightly said that he's not on it at all. So, but with us women, sometimes we believe that men change. We believe that maybe things over time will grow, or feelings may grow, or when he sees a child, things may miraculously
Do you know what, yeah?
differ. But I feel as a man, he should. Like, as a man, he should, like, own up to his responsibilities. It's two people in this relationship. She didn't do it herself, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you can't force anyone to do something when they outright say they're not on it and don't want to do it. So it's just kind of like coming to terms that, you know what, I may actually do this alone, because it's her body, it's her mind, and she has a choice to either have the child or not. It's up to her. But I feel like she just has to be honest that, you know what, he may actually not be there.
You mentioned that change thing. That, I can't lie, yeah. Till this day, that stuff rattles me. Like,
because some men have changed though. Like, it's like no one's gonna. It's not something that we pick out of thin air. Trust me. Some men have changed. I've had friends. They were casually dating, whatever it may be, end up pregnant, and then now they're together, happy, living together. He loves her. I can't let the percentage might be very small in it. It might be just, it's very small. But then there's also other people that I've seen around me that they were going out with their partner for years. Baby comes into the mix and the man's gone.
That's nuts. I don't know, I laughed.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't actually predict what a person's going to do.
I was literally about to say that. This is why life is so complex and it's so intriguing, because I always tell people, the reason why relationships tend to be quite difficult, and then and I hate when people because they're difficult already. Don't add your own complications.
Oh
no. Like, a human being, like, let's say me, let's take me for example. An event can happen tomorrow and it can change me completely. Like, for example, I've seen friends when a family member has died and they have never been the same. Like, never been the same. Or someone can lose a job, or, do you know what I mean? Like, anything can happen and people could change. And it's difficult because how do you hedge against that? So, like, you've met this person, everything's great, 3 years in. I think the last time I watched, like, reality TV show, like, quite religiously was, like, Love and Hip Hop. Time ago, God forgive me, And I think it was, like, Kirk and Rashida.
Yeah.
Do you know who they are?
Yeah.
So, like, before, they were, like, quite a good, strong couple, And obviously, Kirk's up with a mad hickey, But, like, what surprised me is, like, how people went and clock what moves. So, like, I think that two things happened, So, I think it was, like, his son went in jail, and then his brother was dying or something along those lines.
Oh.
Yeah. See,
I didn't know that.
It was on the episode. This is what I mean. Like, this.
Yeah.
So this is, and literally those two things, he was a different person.
Yeah.
Ever since then, man was hitting up cabins.
Yeah.
Man was drinking more. Man was on this cheating vibe. Like, and it was just like mad. Like, obviously, her and Kirk and Rashida, like, he was like mad devoted.
They were together for what, 15? They were together for years.
He was mad devoted to his wife, and that life, those two heavy things hitting him, completely altered his life. Am I excusing his behaviour? No, of course not, because that's hickey behaviour. You know what I mean? You still got to take accountability for your actions. But at the same time, like, people were dissing Rashida, but, like, what do you want her to do? Like, this is something you said they're there for 15 years, probably knew each other from before that, for a year or two. You've had 15 years of just amazing behaviour, everything just perfect. Life throws you a curveball.
You just want to...
everything's scattered. Like, it's mad. Like, damn.
You know what someone taught me the other day? So I was having a conversation. We're talking about, like, relationships and stuff. And he was saying to me, like in a marriage or in a relationship, there's going to, like you mentioned, there's going to be certain things in life what's going to change someone drastically. And what you have to do as a partner is learn to love that person. It's like you're going to learn to love someone all the time. And I feel like the reason why a lot of relationships don't last because the people keep loving the person that you first met 5 years ago, or they just can't get over the fact that people do change, and life can cause you headaches to make you think or just alter your personality. So it's just literally, as a partner, is learning to love that person over again. It's going to be, obviously, it's going to be a journey. It is a process, but stop having this mentality that, oh, you weren't the same when I first met you. Oh my gosh, you changed. What happened? It's like you're trying to get what you had before, and sometimes you're never going to get that. So how can you move forward and love that new person and find ways to keep on loving them?
See, this is where I worry, because what you just mentioned, that's where I'm at, because I believe that. I believe, okay, I'm very economical and quite very reason-based. I'm thinking, okay, cool. To me, everything...
Or statistic-based.
Yeah, everything to me is a transaction in life, innit? Like a friendship's a transaction. Like, we're friends because I might give you something, you might give me something in return. And if we realise that, I'm getting a raw end of the deal, that's how relationships break down. Like, somebody's like, I'm being taken for granted, or like, like, he's cheated again, or she's cheated. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, this deal was not for me, innit? So I've come and met you, let's say it's you, Monikah. You're like, I don't know, like you're 8 out of 10 in terms of personality, which is lie because you're 10.
No, yeah, 10. Thank you. You know, I'm looking at you like, what?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, like you have all your stats, and then like, this is amazing for me. Cool. 2 years down the line, your character, like the contents of your character, are completely deviating. Or I put this on Twitter, and oh my god, women wanted to murder me. Yeah,
they always want to murder you.
I know, but this one was heavy. Like, people were like, you're such a disgusting person. I'm like, okay, cool. So I said it was half joke, but half like, I like to joke but say real talk at the same time. So I was like, you man that your girl puts on mad. And I said, I did 7 A's to show you that this is a lot of weight.
Okay, so it's not like just a stone or two.
That's what I said, mad with 7 A's. Like, when you, like, come on, this is basic English out here, yeah? Mad weight are saints, because I don't know how you lot do it, but what did I say? Say stuff like that's like signing a contract with EE, and then a year later, they just half your data. Are you paying the same price? And like, to me, that's mad. Like, and everybody was like, you're such a sick person. I was like, but to me, this is common sense. If somebody's like, relationships end because somebody starts to deviate from what people already knew, as you explained. So let's say we're together, and I was like really, really generous, then I just became super stingy. Like, I wouldn't do you favors, not even little favors, like, I would leave you some food, or I wouldn't wash your plates for you, or I wouldn't quickly, if I was coming home from work, I knew you're hungry, I just got a young nanas for myself. And I'm just looking at you like, what are you looking at me, G? Go out there and hit the streets. That type of, like, that's a deviation from what you knew. So, and that's a character thing. So to me, I'm like, why isn't appearance one of them? It's like, if I knew you and I was attracted to you, I'm now to the point where you've deviated so much, I'm not even longer attracted to you. Why am I staying here? Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. But what you said was like, you got to learn to love that person again. So this is what I worry about, thinking which one's right, because I can't lie. If I got somebody and their character deviated so much for the worst, and it's causing me to be in a happy situation,
you leave. Look at him, he's like, deuces, I'm out here.
Man's gone, cuz. I ain't been unhappy. I've only got one life, you know. No Call of Duty, no respawn.
I hear that.
But yeah, that's why I'm thinking, this marriage thing's a bit techie.
Yeah, it is, because marriage is about patience. It's about tolerance. It's like, it's a lot. It's about compromisation. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff. I hate that word compromise, you know. Yeah, it is. But that's what it is, though.
So I hate compromise, yeah?
Why?
Because people always want you to compromise to their point of view. Because compromise works both ways. Let's say, for example, yeah, I don't know. I'll use this example. Okay, I'll just use a really like childish example. You like posting relationship pictures on like Instagram. That's what you've done. Yeah, you and your ex-boyfriend used to post, and obviously when you broke up, delete them on the show. And I was like, nah, man's not on that type of thing. And then you're like, why don't you compromise to me? And I'm like, why don't you compromise to me? So it's like, I feel like people throw compromise like a trump card.
There has to be a balance, though.
I agree.
There has to be a balance.
I agree.
And anytime the balance is off, we know what it is. If you eat too much sweets, you know what happened. If you drink too much, do you know what I mean? If you drink too much of something, there's going to be a consequence of that action. So it's just kind of weighing up the consequences, good or bad. Is it worth it?
Yeah, I agree with you. I just hate that people just use Trump.
Oh no, it has to be a balance. It has to make sense.
To me, you can't tell me to compromise. You ain't compromised to me. Like, get the fuck out of
But
here.
you don't all compromise on different things. So you compromising on Instagram, I may compromise on cooking food. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I can't lie. I'm not a housewife kind of type of woman. I'm not out here doing cooking and all of that. I'll be like, it's long for me just because of my lifestyle and I'm very busy.
Yeah.
So, but if I have a partner, I'm going to be like, all right, cool. I'm going to have to compromise in the sense of, you know what, maybe twice a week or 3 times a week, I'm going to make sure that there's food on the table. It doesn't always have to be the same thing. And it doesn't always have to be a competition. And I feel like collaborating more than competition will always win.
I agree with that. I feel like, especially when you, I hate when people say when you really like something. I don't use that.
No.
I like to use when you want something to work. Yeah, that's what I prefer to use. You will do everything in your power to make it work. So like, there's certain things that like I don't particularly want to do. Mm-hmm. Some of them I can't lie, I won't do.
Yeah.
But some of them I will do. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's all about getting that balance. But yeah, back to the like people at my neck. They're like, what about pregnancy? I'm like, that's calm.
Mm-hmm.
Man said mad way, cause like, so before anyone thinks I'm an evil person, but yeah, I believe if a guy, girl, if anybody deviates from the contract you signed and is making you unhappy, and I believe you should wait things out. So like me, I like to see it because I remember.
And have conversations as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
You can't come like 7 months like, right, you put on mad. And whilst I was going through that transition, you weren't there to support me.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
And the way you say it as well. And I feel like a lot of times men are very just like, they're not emotion based. A lot of them. Everything is like you said, it's evidence based. Like you put on weight, you should know. You've put on weight. Like the way sometimes that they will deliver stuff will make women feel attacked. So it's just learning to kind of like find ways to make sure that the conversation is productive and positive, not obviously going up to him with how many A's and messaging her WhatsApp like you got mad weight and
got a curious cat like you see
them men that do that, yeah, they're pussies. I'm allowed to swear. That is moist. Who does that?
That is so moist, but at the same time,
no, but
that is funny. Imagine, yeah.
That's not good. Oh God, there's this fucking.
Imagine, yeah. So like, you're like, oh babe, can I order some Chinese? Yeah. And you're like, yeah.
You're annoying.
Yeah. She puts stuff on. She swipes up as on curious cat account. You're like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, you said that, yeah, you fat cow. Like, go to the gym, man. How have you got back? That is flipping.
I remember I saw that the guy got exposed or they found she found out it was her boyfriend.
I need to find him. He's a flipping champion. Do you know how funny that is? Yeah.
And then he's there like, don't worry, babe, man. Don't listen to these people. Is that what he's saying? Because he's not obviously that has the chest to back it up.
Yeah, that's even wavy. Like you're coming to reassurance, but at the same time, you let it shoot.
I'm not here for that.
Okay. No, I'm joking. I'm sorry. That
is bad.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree with that. You should like, inform people, and that's one thing I always like. Communication is important. Mm-hmm. Like if I want to tell you something, I want to speak to you in Yoruba because you're not gonna understand it. I can give you the same message, but I want to give you a message in a way you can digest it. I can't lie. Sometimes, yeah, it gets you annoying because I'm like, why can't I just tell you as it is? Why have to dress it up? I can't lie. Sometimes I don't. I'm just sick of it. I'm like, listen, it is what it is. Because sometimes people actually know that it is what
but it depends how much you value that person. When you really value someone, like, come on, if your wife, you're really gonna just be out here just like, yo, saying it without no sort of makeup.
No. Sometimes, yeah. First of all, sometimes people need just to get the hard honest truth. And sometimes that could be maybe a lost resort. Maybe he's tried a more passive thing. And like, she's still out here dipping cakes into ice cream. And you're thinking, what the fuck's going on out here? Or he's still out here not listening. He's not doing... Like sometimes then you have to go... But I agree with you. Like, especially if you value somebody's feelings, you got to... Especially women in weight, I've learned that...
Yeah. You got to communicate the way that they will understand.
So annoying. I'm thinking, but it's obvious. Like, you can see you've put away. Like, I'm just telling you what... Like, also, why... Okay, question, yeah? Why is it offensive to say that you've put on weight? If it's obvious, like I'm just stating an empirical. Do
you think I don't already know that? Well, why? But why are you like? It's the way you deliver it. You can't just tell me that you've put on weight. So I might be dealing with that in my mind, like mentally battling that I'm put on weight, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh,
mentally battling. Where was a battle where you're chopping cake?
And sometimes, like, it's hard as women to actually put it out there, like, Rob, actually put on... Like, it's hard, it's a realization. If you're just there ordering
Chinese, if they're drinking wine, bruv.
But life can happen, hormones can happen, I don't know. It could be medical. Come on, it's not always...
How often is it medical? Out of 10, bruv. If we're giving stuff...
Okay, but there was at one point when I put on mad weight because I was on steroids, mad bloated, and no one asked me, are you okay? The first thing they attacked me is, rah, you put on weight, she's pregnant, yeah, I knew she fell off. You see all them girls in secondary school that thought they were nice. Yeah,
you were the bad beast in secondary school, yeah, and you're still on.
No, but like it hurt my feelings because it's like I know I've put on weight. I'm mentally dealing with me having that weight, and then for someone to not even care about what may be the reason or have a conversation with me, that really hurt me. Or to be behind my back saying that you're my friend and then you're my partner, that's meant to be giving me that support.
That's most. If you're gonna claim to love somebody, you gotta do right by them.
Got to do right. Or even like, I don't know, sometimes like help with advice. Do you know what I mean? Like some of my friends be like, yeah, but you know this medication makes you put on weight. I'm like, come on. Like when it comes to medication, it's more of a mental thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's just having that conversation, just having someone that you know that's in your corner and you can communicate effectively so that there's positive results.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are just harsh with it and then just realize why things just don't go their way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, you have to have them conversations. Like, let's say something's becoming a bit more untrustworthy.
Yeah.
You got to discuss that. But if shout out my boy Dams, he told me something years back, probably, I don't know how many years ago, and there was advice from his dad. And one of the few things that I keep with me, he goes, relationships are like seasons. You have spring, yeah, what's after spring again?
You got spring, then
summer, yeah,
then autumn.
Then you have autumn, then you have a winter. Like, you got to always get those seasons. So don't just come here. Summer is cool.
Yeah.
Bali pictures. We out here. His and her rollies. Date night. Then winters come, and then okay, cool. Winter, I'm gone. Like one of my guys, if you listen to, he knows who he is. Every winter, Donnie's gone. I'm like, bro, you cannot avoid being annoyed by God. I'm telling you.
You can't.
If you can avoid it, we'll all be on it. Trust me, fam. It's impossible. You just gotta see it through. So if I have an issue with something, I try to wait it out, give it a period of time. Sometimes it could be bad for me. And then if I'm seeing that the trend is still going, then I have to start making honest decisions. But you can't just be like, oh shit, man, like he's not listening to me anymore. I'm gone. Or she's not listening to me anymore. I'm gone. I think that you should have, as you said, have those conversations. It's in your best interest.
And that's why friendships are so important. Like a lot of time people just rush into things and then like they don't understand the level of it. Like I believe in like developing that friendship. Also, more times you know someone's true character when bad things happen, when real life experiences happen.
That's so true.
And I feel like once you can see the worst of them, then you'll be able to love the best of them.
Yeah. Jeez, bars.
So because I try something there. So I feel like it's really important in that sense. But I feel like with marriage as well, I feel like a lot of people are just rushing into it because you need to be married or you need to see that you're stable or you need to see that you're in a relationship, and sometimes don't take the time out to actually nurture what they've got and just start from the bottom and then let it grow. Do you know what I mean? But it's hard. Like relationships are hard. Some things won't be worth it and others it will be worth it. What you might do in one relationship might not work in a second. But
facts.
It's like, how do you make it work together?
That's why I believe in reason and logic, because like I'm not a relationship expert. I'll never will be.
Yeah. I
don't care enough about relationships. I hate people talk to me about relationships because I don't care about your relationship. So my friends listening, unless it is going wrong, I don't care.
Yeah.
But just operate in your best interest and in the best interest of what you're in will always, I would say it will increase the probability of success.
Yeah.
It's not going to guarantee it. So like, for example, like when you said some people do the same thing, you do the same thing in relationships. Like I've seen guys try to move to 10 different girls in the same way, but they're not going to all be the 10 type of girls. Like they're going to be different. Like some girls, a lady might like the quiet, in your face, direct, yo, what you saying? Obviously not like that. Like, listen, I really like you. Like, I think we should. Well, some ladies are a bit more reserved, a bit more shy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't use the same approach for
all 10.
You can't use the same hammer for every nail.
Yeah.
I think that's. Do you know what I mean? Same thing in relationships. Like some people are gonna be a bit more forthcoming, some people are gonna be more reserved. Some people deal with conflict where they're gonna head on talk to you.
Yeah.
Or some people it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna go on airplane mode for 3 days because they don't want to have conversation.
Yeah.
So you gotta understand that different scenarios require different actions. So I'm quite a situational ethics type person. Like you got to look at the situation and see how you're going to respond. You can't take the same. That's why I don't believe in relationship rules.
Yeah, there's no rules. And their personality, man. You need to know what you're dealing with. And sometimes people do not know. And then all of a sudden it's like, but I didn't think you was like that. It's like,
and that's why infatuation and lust is dangerous.
It's so dangerous. Logic is important.
Yeah, logic's important. Like I've used an example probably before. Like there's a girl I knew, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I've got a problem with my man. This, that, and the third." I was like, "Okay, cool. What's the problem?" Yeah. See me, I'm not like your friends. I'm not to listen to you and agree with you. I want to ask you bare questions.
What happened?
Yeah. So I was approached. He goes, "Oh, communication's bad." I'm like, "What do you mean? Oh, we don't really speak every day. It's quite hard to get a hold of him on the phone." Naturally, people are like, "Oh, that's poor. This is your man. You should speak to him every day." Guys and girls will say that. So I'm like, so I was like, "Okay, cool." First question I asked, is he like this? Is it just you?
Yeah.
Because now he's like this with his mum and sister as well. So I was like, okay, cool. I was like, so I knew it was the ask next one. I was like, so how old is he? He's like, oh, he's 26. I was like, has he always been like this? She said, yeah. So I was like, oh, so he's been this way for 26 years of his life.
Mm-hmm.
She said, yeah. I was like, was this way before you met him? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, 2 questions. 1, why did you think somebody's going to change 26 years of learned behavior without, like, overnight? Like, why, even if you wanted to, something that you've been doing your whole life can be difficult to change.
Yeah, definitely.
And secondly, why wasn't there a problem before you two said, oh, you're my boyfriend, girlfriend?
The talking stage. I know the
like, it wasn't a problem then. But like, I've seen it with some people. They believe once there's the boyfriend title or the girlfriend title,
expectations.
Like, it's the same brother or it's the same shorty. You know, like, why do you think that just like that, because you said these words into the atmosphere, that they're gonna change all of a sudden? To me, that's bonkers. It's like, I'm sorry, but you're capping, fam. Like, you can't be complaining about that. I understand, like, on a level playing field, I understand that you want to be able to communicate with your partner because that's, you know, it's a bit strange not talking to your partner. But this is a contract you signed.
Yeah.
It was calm in January. Now it's November. You're shedding tears. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And if it was like that, you got to help him to unlearn these behaviors. And I feel like
from
sometimes,
the moment you clocked it, not like, I've got the girlfriend Yu-Gi-Oh card. Ha! No.
Nothing. I see man out here girl and still moving mad. I see man that's married and still moving mad. Like, a title doesn't mean anything if that person doesn't respect or value what you've both got. So, speaking it.
I think it's Brent about to kick us out.
He's like, yeah, ready for you. Let's go.
Let me check the time. Oh yeah, wow, that went quick. Okay, so to round up, where can people find you, Monikah?
You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, Monikah Lee, Monikah with Kahlee.
So MONIKAHLEE. And
Instagram, Twitter, and I've got my talk show coming up on the 7th of July.
I'll take us out.
Not yet, but my panelists have been finalised. Maybe by the time we put this out, the panelists will be out as well.
Okay.
So we've got Aloni, she'll be on there. We've got a guy called Tariqis. We've got a lady from Ireland called Brittany. She doesn't practice monogamy, so that'll be good.
What's that mean?
Like just being in a relationship with one person or being married with one person. So she's polyamorous. That's it. So polygamy is when you're married, and polyamorous is when you're not married but you have several partners and everyone's aware that they've got partners.
What
and it's all consensual.
What a G.
But from a woman's perspective, because man will be like, yeah, man's poly, man's out here. I'm not trying to hear that because sometimes the 10 gal don't know what go on. But with women, yeah.
Some men have a trippy like that. Shout out to them.
Oh boy. But yeah, so it should be quite interesting talking about sex.
Okay. On that note, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. Don't be an op. What else? Other things? Spotify. I think Spotify you follow. SoundCloud you follow. Apple Podcasts you subscribe. And yeah, tell a friend. But yeah, until next time, peace.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's good.